The blizzard howled outside her cabin, like a ghost refusing to let go. Rachel pulled her late husband's coat tighter around her shoulders, trying to remember what warmth even felt like. Her Marine, Sergeant Luke Holloway, had been gone 6 winters now, taken not by battle, but by fever. She had survived, but not really. Each day passed in silence. Each night, heavier than the last. Until the morning she opened her door and found a man collapsed in the snow. His chest was gashed, his face burned with fever, and his arm carried Apache beads. Every instinct screamed to slam the door shut. But another voice whispered softly, "Mercy." She dragged him inside, half frozen, and laid him on the cot where her husband once slept. For 3 days, she fed him broth and changed his bandage, speaking only to the wind. When he awoke, his eyes weren't wild. They were full of fear. She asked his name. He didn't speak. But he didn't reach for a weapon either. The town noticed tracks near her land. They came knocking. "We saw Apache prints. You hiding someone?" Rachel's heart pounded. If they found him, they'd hang him. So she did something reckless, desperate, and strange. She lied. "He's my husband." The words spilled like ice water. The sheriff raised an eyebrow but stepped back. The lie worked. But it chained her life to a stranger. A man who hadn't spoken a word. Yet somehow, she couldn't look away from his eyes. Because they were the same eyes Luke once had. The eyes of a man who had seen too much and survived just barely. In that moment, she didn't know whether she'd just saved a life, or destroyed her own. But something told her, the story was just beginning. Days passed like flickering candlelight. He said little. He ate less. His name was Eli, spoken so softly she almost missed it. Rachel kept her distance, fixing fences, feeding goats, and stacking wood, always aware of him watching her quietly. One night, thunder shook the cabin. She lit a lantern and found Eli kneeling near the hearth, trembling. She approached slowly and placed a blanket over his shoulders. He didn't flinch. Instead, he whispered, "I never meant to cross this land. I was trying to get home." His voice was cracked, like someone who hadn't spoken to another soul in years. The next day, she found him outside, mending the leg of a stool that had been broken since Luke died. She didn't ask him to. He just did it. He began doing small things, fetching water, chasing off crows, carving tiny animals from leftover firewood. Rachel started leaving him extra food, and he always left a clean plate. One evening, she caught him at her husband's grave, speaking in his native tongue. He laid down a bright red feather and whispered, "Thank you." Rachel felt her breath hitch. It was the first time she'd cried since Luke died. Not from pain, but from understanding. Eli wasn't an enemy. He was another soul trying to survive in a world that had forgotten men like him. The town still whispered. "That's the widow who married an Apache." But Rachel now saw what they didn't. Eli moved with the same quiet dignity Luke once had. And in the spaces between them, something began to take root. Not love, not yet. But a kind of peace neither of them had felt in years. The kind that grows only in the soil of shared loss. The letter came without warning. It was addressed to Sergeant Luke Holloway, long deceased. The seal was official, a posthumous medal from the Marines. Rachel sat alone by the fire, staring at the folded letter in her hands. It read, "For bravery during the Mesquite mission. Sergeant Holloway helped save lives, both Marine and native. She froze. Native? Her fingers trembled. She handed the letter to Eli. He read it slowly, then reached into a pouch he always carried but never opened. Inside was a tattered Marine patch, and a letter with a familiar name at the bottom, Luke Holloway. Rachel's heart stopped. You knew him? Eli nodded. He saved me. I was left behind, bleeding. He hid me, gave me water. I never forgot his eyes. Rachel's breath caught in her throat. The man she had married to protect had once been saved by the man she had loved. Her lie hadn't just saved a life. It had repaid a debt. Eli sat beside her on the floor, eyes shining. I never knew where to bring this, he said, placing the patch beside Luke's medal. For the first time in years, Rachel felt the circle close, grief, chance, and grace, all folding into one moment. In saving Eli, she had honored Luke. And Eli had given her back her reason to keep going. 2 men. 2 wars. One silent thread of kindness connecting them through time. Rachel wiped her tears and whispered, maybe we were never strangers after all. And for the first time in years, the cabin didn't feel cold. It felt like home. Spring came slowly, brushing the hills with green. The town began to thaw, just like Rachel's heart. Children wandered near the cabin now, pointing at Eli's carvings lined up on the porch rail. One boy dropped his toy, and when Eli fixed it and handed it back with a gentle smile, something shifted. The children smiled back. Soon after, Rachel found a loaf of bread at her door, wrapped in a clean towel. The preacher stopped her after church. I see peace on your face now, he said gently. And on his. Eli now wore a cloth stitched with both Apache and Marine symbols. He said little, but he showed up. Every time. When the widow's barn collapsed, he rebuilt it. When the well dried, he dug another. No fanfare, no thanks expected. But people noticed. Slowly, the town saw more than just what he looked like. They saw what he did. What he gave. What he repaired, not just with his hands, but with his quiet presence. One Sunday, Rachel looked out across the small crowd and saw Eli teaching a boy how to tie a knot the Marine way. Her chest tightened. This man wasn't a burden. He was her blessing. Not because of what he did, but because of what he healed. And for the first time, she reached for his hand in public. No one looked away. Because sometimes the strongest love grows not from passion, but from peace.